Welcome to Jersey Reads the Classics, an audiobook podcast delving into the finest works of our literary masters. Unfortunately, it's read by this woman.
What the hell? Who cares? Let's go on an adventure.
Hello, and welcome back to Jersey Reads the Classics with me, your host, Rosie DeCandia. Well, my friends, if you're rejoining me, I'm hoping that you are enjoying this kind of demented, twisted fairy tale theater kind of thing. So without any further ado, because I know you don't want to hear me babble, because I do enough babbling during it, let's get back to our Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales by the Brothers Grimm. In this episode, we will be reading The Miser in the Bush. There was once a rich man who had a servant who served him diligently and honestly. He was every morning the first out of bed and the last to go to rest at night. And whenever there was a difficult job to be done, which nobody cared to undertake, he was always the first to set himself to it. Moreover, he never complained, but was contented with everything and always merry. I need a guy like that. That's a perfect employee, a perfect boyfriend. When a year was ended, his master gave him no wages, for he said to himself, "That is the cleverest way, for I shall save something, and he will not go away, but stay quietly in my service." Oh, so this employer is a complete douchebag, cheap motherfucker. But we'll see what's going to happen here. The servant said nothing, but did his work the second year as he had done it the first. And when at the end of this, likewise, he received no wages, he made himself happy and still stayed on. Did he make himself happy, or was he like a schmuck, kind of like Hans? When the third year also was passed, the master considered, put his hand in his pocket, but pulled nothing out. Then at last the servant said, "Master, for 3 years I have served you honestly. Be so good as to give me what I ought to have, for I wish to leave and look about me a little more in the world." Oh, good for him. He's standing up for himself because he's realizing, he's like, dude, you need to pay me, okay? Because I want to go see the world. Now let's see what this douchebag is going to pay him. You know, it's kind of like, but what's good about this guy is, even though he wasn't getting paid, he was still doing his job and giving 150%. Because no matter how much you're getting paid, whether you're getting paid minimum wage or hundreds of thousands of dollars, you should always give 100% or more. Okay. "Yes, my good fellow," answered the old miser, "you have served me industriously, and therefore you shall be cheerfully rewarded." And he put his hand into his pocket, but counted out only 3 farthings, saying, "There, you have a farthing for each year. That is large and liberal pay, such as you would have received from few masters." What a scumbag. What a cheap mofo. Yes, he's more than a miser. But you know what? Let's see what happens with our wonderful, industrious worker, because it's time for him to go out into the world and finally have a whole new world. That's where he'll be, with 3 farthings. I don't know where that comes. That was totally just in my head. Okay. The honest servant, who understood little about money, put his fortune into his pocket, and thought, now that I have my purse full, why need I trouble and plague myself any longer with hard work? So on he went, up hill and down dale, and sang and jumped to his heart's content. Okay. You know what is? Ignorance is bliss. I like that. Now it came to pass that as he was going by a thicket, a little man stepped out and called to him, "Where away, merry brother? I see you do not carry many cares." "Why should I be sad?" answered the servant. "I have enough. 3 years' wages are jingling in my pocket." Oh shit, he gonna be divulging that he got money in his pocket. "I got one hand in my pocket." I think I'm having my singing Tourette's today. "How much is your treasure?" the dwarf asked him. "How much? 3 farthings sterling, all told." "Oh, brother." "Look here," said the dwarf. "I am a poor, needy man. Give me your 3 farthings. I can work no longer, but you are young and can easily earn your bread." And as the servant had a good heart and felt pity for the old man, he gave him the 3 farthings, saying, Take them in the name of heaven. I shall not be any the worse for it. Look at that. Even though he didn't have enough, he didn't even have a pot to piss in, he still gave charity. I mean, I don't believe in giving when you're taking it out of your mouth, but I still believe in giving. And we'll talk about that in the woo-woo, but we're not going to get on that right now, okay? Then the little man said, as I see you have a good heart, I grant you 3 wishes, 1 for each farthing. They shall all be fulfilled. You see? He gets a good deed. Now he's getting 3 freaking wishes. Okay, let's see what he wishes for, because, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Aha, said the servant. You are one of those who can work wonders. Well then, if it is to be so, I wish first for a gun, which shall hit everything that I aim at. A little violent. Secondly, for a fiddle, which when I play on it shall compel all who hear it to dance. Interesting. A gun, a fiddle, so he's got protection and he's got entertainment. Okay. Thirdly, that if I ask a favor of anyone, he shall not be able to refuse it. That's like a wish that keeps giving. So you could be asking people for money, asking people for everything, and they will say yes. He's not so stupid, I don't think. Well, let's think. That's a good wish. That is a good wish. All that you shall have, said the dwarf, and put his hand into the bush, and only think, there lay a fiddle and a gun all ready, just as if they had been ordered. These he gave to the servant, and then said to him, whatever you may ask at any time, no man in the world shall be able to deny you. Oh, damn. Okay. Heart alive. What can one desire more? Said the servant to himself, and went merrily onwards. You see, he's using it for good. He's going to use this shit for good. Soon afterwards, he met a miser with a long goatee who was standing listening to the song of a bird which was sitting up at the top of a tree. Good heavens, he was exclaiming, that such a small creature should have such a fearfully loud voice. If it were but mine, if only someone would sprinkle some salt upon its tail. Does he want to eat the bird? Confused. If that is all, said the servant, the bird shall soon be down here. And taking aim, he pulled the trigger, and down fell the bird into the thorn bushes. Go, you rogue, he said to the miser, and fetch the bird out for yourself. Ho, ho, said the miser, leave out the rogue, my master, and I will do it at once. I will get the bird out for myself, as you really have hit it. Then he lay down on the ground and began to crawl into the thicket. Oh, so he did shoot down the bird. Okay, I guess he wanted the bird for dinner. When he was fast among the thorns, the good servant's humor so tempted him that he took up his fiddle and began to play. In a moment, the miser's legs began to move and to jump into the air, and the more the servant fiddled, the better went the dance. But the thorns tore his shabby coat from him, combed his beard, and pricked and plucked him all over the body. Oh dear, cried the miser, what do I want with your fiddling? Leave the fiddle alone, master. I do not want to dance. I want to dance with somebody. I want to feel the heat. I want to dance with somebody. I'm feeling very singy today. But the servant did not listen to him and thought, you have fleeced people often enough. Now the thorn bushes shall do the same to you. And he began to play over again, so that the miser had to jump higher than ever, and scraps of his coat were left hanging on the thorns. Oh, wait a second. So this dumb little man with the 3 farthings with his fiddle in now is not so dumb. He knows that this miser is a no good miser. So, he knows something we don't. Maybe he got the gift of sight along with it. Oh, woe is me, said the miser. I will give the gentleman whatever he asks if he only leaves off fiddling, a purse full of gold. If you are so liberal, said the servant, I will stop my music. But this I must say to your credit, that you dance it so well that it is quite an art. And having taken the purse, he went his way. I love it. He even gave him a compliment that he could dance so well. Okay. The miser stood still and watched the servant quietly until he was far off and out of sight. There were a lot of misers in this book. And then he screamed out with all his might, you miserable musician, you beer hall fiddler, wait till I catch you alone. I will hunt you till the soles of your shoes fall off. You ragamuffin, just put 5 farthings in your mouth, and then you may be worth 3 halfpence. And went on abusing him as fast as he could speak. As soon as he had refreshed himself a little in this way and got his breath again, he ran into the town to the justice. So He gives his purse of gold to have to stop the guy to stop fiddling, and now he is cursing the bejesus out of that mofo. I'm so happy that our little fiddler man, I'm going to call him the fiddler. It's like the fiddler on the roof, the fiddler in the thicket. I love it that he took the money from the guy who was no good. But we don't know if the guy's no good. We're going to find out. Let's see. My Lord Judge, he said. But the guy is no good because he's already going to justice. I have come to make a complaint. See how a rascal has robbed and ill-treated me on the public highway? A stone on the ground might pity me. My clothes are all torn, my body pricked and scratched, my little all gone with my purse. Good ducats, each piece better than the last. For God's sake, let that man be thrown into prison. Oh, he ain't nice. And it's good ducats or ducats? D-U-C-A-T-S. So I don't know if it's ducats or ducats or duque. Who knows? So we'll put that in the thing afterwards. Okay. Was it a soldier, said the judge, who cut you thus with his saber? Nothing of the sort, said the miser. It was no sword that he had, but a gun hanging at his back and a fiddle at his neck. The wretch may easily be known. So the judge sent his people out after the man, and they found the good servant, who had been going quite slowly along, and they found, too, the purse with the money upon him. As soon as he was taken before the judge, he said, I did not touch the miser, nor take his money. He gave it to me of his own free will, that I might leave off fiddling, because he could not bear my music. Heaven defend us, cried the miser. His lies are as thick as flies upon the wall. And the miser is no good. But the judge also did not believe his tale and said, this is a bad defense. No miser would do that. Oh, really? No miser would do that, no this guy. And I love that he's saying that's the bad defense. And because he had committed robbery on the public highway, he sentenced the good servant to be hanged. Oh my God, this is a terrible justice system. But let's not talk about justice system. As he was being led away, the miser again screamed after him, You vagabond, you dog of a fiddler, now you are going to receive your well-earned reward. The servant walked quietly with the hangman up the ladder, but upon the last step he turned round and said to the judge, Grant me just one request before I die. Oh, damn. Remember, no one can say no. Yes, if you do not ask your life, said the judge. I do not ask for life, answered the servant. But as a last favor, let me play once more upon my fiddle. The miser raised a great cry of murder, murder, for goodness sake, do not allow it, do not allow it. But the judge said, Why should I not let him have this short pleasure? It has been granted to him, and he shall have it. However, he could not have refused on account of the gift which had been bestowed on the servant. Then the miser cried, Oh, woe is me! Tie me fast! While the good servant took his fiddle from his neck and made ready. As he gave the first scrape of the bow, they all began to quiver and shake. The judge, his clerk, and the hangman, and his men, and the cord fell out of the hand of the one who was going to tie the miser fast. At the second scrape, all raised their legs, and the hangman let go of his hold of the good servant and made himself ready to dance. At the third scrape, they all leaped up and began to dance, the judge and the miser being the best at jumping. Soon, all who had gathered in the marketplace out of curiosity were dancing with him, old and young, fat and lean, one with another. The dogs, likewise, which had run there, got up on their hind legs and capered about. Oh, I'd love to see dogs. I love when dogs run their hind legs dancing and talking, walking. And the longer he played, the higher sprang the dancers, so that they knocked against each other's heads and began to shriek terribly. At length, the judge cried, quite out of breath, I will give you your life if you will only stop fiddling. The good servant thereupon had compassion, took his fiddle and hung it around his neck again, and stepped down the ladder. Then he went up to the miser, who was lying upon the ground, panting for breath, and said, You rascal, now confess whence you got the money, or I will take my fiddle and begin to play again. I stole it, cried he, but you have honestly earned it. So the judge had the miser taken to the gallows and hanged as a thief. The end. The miser in the bush. Yep. He got his, my friends. He got his. So that guy that I thought was so stupid, not so freaking stupid, huh? You know, it's so funny because it's like here he thought 3 things were good, and you're wondering his wishes. Like a gun, yeah, okay, I can see that for protection. You know, he's walking down, and then the fiddle, I kind of like it because it's entertainment. That's entertainment. And then you're just like, everybody's got to grant my request. I mean, this guy was no fool, even though he was. But he wasn't going to use it for bad, and he never did. He just got what he deserved, right? And they all got what they deserved, except the first chief miser, his first boss. But we're going to leave that alone because, you know, at this point, there are a lot of things going on here. First, I want to talk about knowing your worth. You see, that man worked for 3 years. 3 years, and every year he didn't get paid. But he did not stop doing his job. And though when it came time and he was like, all right, it's time for me to leave, I need to get paid. He stood up and asked for it. He did not know that it was not much money, but they say he did not know money, but he asked for it. So weave in your life, I want to encourage you to think about where you feel like you're not getting your worth. Now, it could be your job, it could be in a relationship, whether it's with an intimate partner or whether you're friends or family and you're doing all the work and they're doing nothing, or you're in a relationship with somebody and, you know, you both need to work on shit, but you're doing the work and that person isn't. I just want to encourage you to think about, remember, that's your worth. If you're going to, look for all of us, if we accept behavior from people and chains of behavior and like constant behavior from somebody, it's not their fault. If it's bad behavior and we accept it, it's on us. And it's not like a fault blame game, but it's really kind of up to you to say, you know what, I'm worthy. I'm not going to settle for this crap anymore. Like you would ask for a raise, I would hope. Like you would talk to a boss if you found that one of your colleagues maybe weren't pulling their weight. Same thing in an intimate relationship. If the person's not doing the work, and it takes two to tango. Remember, when you're in a relationship, that's compromise. You both have to be on the same playing field. That's what I would hope. So in life, I think it's important for us to learn that never settle. You are worth something. You are enough, and the person hopefully should match you. And if they're not matching you and not learning from you, then at some point it's on you to say to them, you know what? I'm just letting you know this isn't working out for me, or I deserve more pay for this, or this person, blasey blue blue, is not doing their end of the work bargain, and I would like to, you know, I'd like to talk to somebody or whatever. The point is this: you determine your worth. And once you determine your worth, those around you will give you what you're worth. Yes, you're going to say, sometimes, Rosie, they don't. And you're right. I mean, we are in a time right now, the economy is obviously not good because we're going through COVID. And the thing is this: I'm just talking in general in your life, because whatever, even if you're not working currently or you're working from home, has your workload increased and you feel like you're being taken advantage of because now you're working from home, and it's like, I'm not going to be readily available 12 hours a day. You know, work is from 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 or whatever it is, but I'm not going to put the extra work because I'm at home. It doesn't mean just because I'm at home that I have all this time to be doing work and not getting paid for it. So that's where you establish boundaries and worth. And then secondly, let's talk about getting your just desserts. The miser in the bush, you know, he wanted the bird, and the guy acquiesced and gave him the bird, and then got mad when the guy was fiddling. But the guy fiddling somehow knew that miser was a thief. You see, that's the thing. So he played him, and he didn't like it. But what's interesting is this: that miser in the bush stole from somebody else, right? Walked around with this purse of gold, which he probably had just stolen from somebody, and then got it taken away from him by somebody who earned it with the fiddle and all that other stuff. And what's interesting is everybody gets their just desserts. They always do. And you're going to say to me, no, they don't, Rosie, because there's so many people in the news. Listen, we've talked about this. People are getting canceled left and right. And I'm not even talking about movie stars. I know right now it seems like, oh, the people that don't have any scruples or morals, they're getting ahead in life. Shit's going down. Things are changing. But I will say this. For you, first of all, have your own conscience. And you have to go to bed at night. Well, I would hope that you'd want to go to bed at night, that when you hit your pillow, you sleep soundly. Secondly, it's also, you can't change who you are. You're a good person. Be a good person. I also think we think that bad people don't get their karma, right? Their comeuppance. And that's not true. They just get it in different ways. And we don't need to serve it to somebody. You know, revenge to me in life is walking away from the situation or the person, learning that lesson, and just being like, I am done with you. I learned my lesson. Peace out. Bye, bitch. I'm gone. And that is more of revenge, letting them go, whether they were a bad friend, bad employer, bad employee. You know what it is? It's like I said, you light and love. I wish you well, but you are no longer in my life, and I no longer need to be around your energy. You're toxic, and I say goodbye. And let me tell you something. That's enough. Let them go and be who they are with other people. Remember, we all get our just dessert. That thief did not realize once he stole that money, it was going to come right back to him. He got the money stolen right from him. It wasn't stolen. I mean, and also, he went to a thorn bush. He thought he was making out in the deal when he got the poor little birdie in the thicket, but he even got his clothes all tattered, and he got no money. And the thing is, at the end, he ended up in the gallows because guess what? The truth came out. I also feel that the cream rises to the top. You know, in life, it's your good deeds. It's who you are. And I want to just keep reinforcing. We talk about self-worth and self-love, but there are so many good people. And I'm assuming that you're watching this because you are a good person, because I'm spewing stuff for people that understand these concepts, right? The thing about being a good person, a good-hearted person, I mean, let's even look at the fact he had only 3 farthings, right? 3 coins. He had no money, and he still gave it to the man, the first man who asked him, I'm poor, you're young, you can work. And he's like, you're right. And he was charitable. I always believe in helping people out. Of course, I do think that if you don't have a pot to piss in, you can't give your pot away. However, you can always be charitable in helping people in other ways. So I do want to reinforce that, because I will say this. When you do things for others, the reward is greater. So I also want to look at the fact, the good servant, he had qualities that were amazing. He was honest, hardworking. He earned his keep. He went out into the world. He didn't steal from anybody. He got bestowed these wishes. And you're like, well, this is literal. I'm like, yes, but in life, you are being blessed with your goodness. You're being blessed if you look around you with the things that you choose to look at. And we've talked about that before. This guy was so merry because he thought he had the world by the balls. He had 3 farthings in his pocket. So he thought it was a lot of money. Yeah, ignorance is bliss. But the thing is this, in his good-natured ways of giving, he receives something more. And I'm just going to encourage you to continue with the course of not getting jaded. Please don't get jaded and bitter by what you see in the world. It is not indicative of all the good that's out there. And anybody, listen, people are getting called out left and right. And not that I'm sitting here like, oh my God, yay, joyful in it. But it's time that people do get called out. This is the point. Working on yourself and keep feeding yourself all the good things that you are, and holding dear to you that you're compassionate, you're good, you're a hard worker, you're honest, you have integrity, you're loyal, you're loving, you're kind, you're sweet. Those are qualities we want to keep feeding. So let us not get derailed or deterred or get sucked into the news that tells us things that's like, and this person did this nefarious thing, and they're unscrupulous in this. They don't say those words, but we see these people achieving stuff, and you're like, what's wrong with me that I got nothing? And you do have something. That's the thing. So let's not look outside at the world and look at all the wrong that's going on. Let's look at all the good. How many people have stepped up? And even in your own life, if you've stepped up for people, if people have stepped up for you during this time, there's so much good out there. So I just want us all to stay encouraged by the fact that good does always overcome evil. It may not always seem like that, but I do believe we also need a balance. It's yin yang, right? We need the light, we need the dark. Without the dark, we cannot have light, and vice versa. So my friends, do not lose heart. Continue to be the wonderful human being you are. Continue to know your worth and ask for your worth. Do not settle for less than you are willing to give as well. Because also, you can't ask of somebody if you're not going to give it. It needs to be reciprocal. Also, continue to stay good and also charitable. If you can help somebody, you can help somebody in little ways, whether it's getting them groceries, whether it's picking up mail, whether it's going to the store, whatever it is. Now is a great time, if you have time on your hands, to help those that are less fortunate. And if you need help, then I would encourage you to seek resources, because trust me, they're out there for you to gain assistance as well. Remember, my friends, remember, good always overcomes bad and evil. And that's what I love about these fairy tales. Because in the end, majority of these fairy tales anyway, the good person does win. And I want you to stay good, and I want you to just continue to love on yourself and continue to feed yourself the good stuff about yourself and be grateful for what you have right now. And right now, Be grateful for your health, your friends, your family members. If you have a job at this point, if you enjoy your job at this point, whatever you got, be grateful each and every day, because that attitude of gratitude is going to change your latitude. Also, it just makes you happier. I mean, really, it just brings you joy. So with that being said, I'm wishing you a blessed day. Sending you so much love and light and peace, joy, bliss, all that good stuff. Knowing that right here, right now, you are worthy, you are enough, and you are loved. And until we read again. Okay, bye.